Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to hold off for one more minute. I can see a lot of people logging in and we'll start in 1 minute. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon from Dublin, everybody. My name is Declan Carolyn and I'm co-chair of ECR Community. You're more than welcome to our webinar today. It's proven to be quite popular. We've about 150 people online at the moment. We'd over 330 people from 35 countries register for today. And I think that's really evidence of practically the identical position every country in the world finds itself in right now, as we all grapple with changing consumer needs and a continually disruptive environment due to the pandemic. For reference, ECR Community is the support group for all ECR national initiatives around the world and relevant associations, as you can see here. We've 26 member associations at the moment, growing steadily, and a particularly warm welcome to recent recruits at the end of 2020, being ECR Guatemala, AIM and Eurocommerce, who have all recently joined, and you're very welcome. But let's set today's webinar into context if I can. 2 months ago, ECR Community released this review of current practices in category management entitled Category Management Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow, which can be downloaded at ecr-community.org and has been over 1,000 times in over 50 countries so far, which is quite a remarkable reach for a publication which is just about 2 months old. It's a 200-page review. It's quite an in-depth review. It has a clear objective of building a community platform to help the category management practitioner and the manager deal with the massive speed of change that is impacting the marketplace today. We want to give both a historic and a future view on the methodology for how to go to market as a retailer or a product manufacturer, and provide food for thought to all who have an interest in the business of value creation with the consumer and with the shopper. So we created 4 sections to the review. We assembled some of the leading global experts in category management and shopper behavior to contribute insight articles. We included groundbreaking reports from ECR community associations. We focused on current practices around the world with 14 case studies from companies in Asia, Europe, North and South America, and all these case studies are presented in the review according to a common template and include background information to allow the reader to put into context the scale and complexity of each initiative from the outset. Essential to the future of category management is effective utilization of enabling technologies. So the final section in the review focuses on these relevant technologies and service providers. Ultimately, we are out to show that how category management capabilities will continue to deliver competitive advantage. We launched the review with a webinar on November 24th when we listened to some insight from the sponsors of this review, and we're very thankful to David Chanchow from Dunnhumby and Willem Hofragge from Hofragge in Germany, plus an insight from Dr. Brian Harris and Luc de Millionaire, particularly focusing on the role of category management yesterday, today and tomorrow, plus a timely article on the role of category management in times of crisis. And this launch served the purpose of announcing the release of the review, and the webinar is available to review on the ECR community website. But for me, I think it is just the start. I think it is just the start of addressing our objective to advance the standards of category management throughout the world. And to do this, we are scheduling a series of webinars to allow us to conduct an in-depth focus on individual cases from the report in more manageable, bite-sized pieces. The review is quite a detailed 200-page report. It's quite a significant read. So our objective is to divide it into easier digestible pieces and to allow us to do a review of such. And as you can see, the 3 dates of the reviews here, and each webinar will have 4 focus areas: education and insight, real case studies that were featured in the review, ECR publications, and concluding with a Q&A. And let's all try and contribute to this Q&A. Most of us are working remotely, and it's a chance to engage with peers and to progress our knowledge collectively. Today, we'll have Martin Turcotte from Metro and David Chanchow from dunnhumby. We'll have Dennis Sabotka from Your Partner in Business presenting on the Rainbow Group in China. Francois Aka from ECR France will also give a review of the ECR France article. And to begin with, let me please welcome Dr. Brian Harris and Luc de Melanaire. Brian and Luc, you're both very welcome to join us today, and really interested in today's presentation that you're going to discuss the integrated consumer shopper approach in category management and shopper marketing. How are you guys?
Good, Declan. Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, wherever you might be around the world. Well, I'm reporting in from Los Angeles, the COVID capital of the world right now, but hopefully light at the end of that tunnel. But it's fantastic to have you join us today. We're really so pleased that the global response to this work has just been amazing so far. So thank you so much. You know, as Declan said, what we wanted to do with the webinars is basically do 2 things. Take a deeper dive into some of the areas that we discuss in the report that really deserve, I think, some more knowledge, some more education, particularly as they relate to the shape of category management in the future. So today Luc and I are going to talk a little bit about one key aspect of that future vision for category management. The second objective of the webinar, of course, is to really showcase some of the fantastic case study work that was done around the world to really show the current application, the current excellent work that's being done in this field. So that's the objective, and we hope that you enjoy the webinars and you'll follow the webinar series through for the next 2 webinars as well. A little bit of just recap background, so to speak. For those of you that were not on the webinar that launched this report back in November, I just thought it'd be useful to show a couple of slides that really do kind of set the scene for where this work fits and how we saw it coming together. You know, we use this basically as kind of a way of really re-emphasizing the fact that if you look at the evolution of retail marketing, going way back to when POS scanning came on board back in the mid-70s, category management played a pivotal role, because category management was really the first application to take that new information and really apply it and bring the consumer into the category management work, into the retail marketing scene. Since then, of course, you know, the way the retail industry evolves is not revolutionary, but one wave builds on the next. Category management basically, let me just go back, category management basically then provided the framework for other elements of retail marketing to be implanted, to be consolidated, to be developed and implemented. And that will continue. So, you know, shopper marketing and omni-channel marketing and so on and so forth, the waves will continue in the future to shape how retail marketing is evolving. Now, if you look at the forces that drive those waves, they always come down to one or more of these 3 areas. changes in the consumer and shopper, changes and threats from competition, particularly new competition, and of course the availability of new data and technology. So these factors will continue to shape the waves of the future, and we just like they have in the past. Next slide. Declan, why aren't I changing slides? Okay, so essentially then, as Declan said, we kind of broke the period into three phases. Firstly, the period from 87 to 2010 was really where category management became an integral part of our toolkit. And that was where the consumer was brought into retail marketing. And of course, during that period, we had a number of important developments and contributions to the industry through category management. Trying to change my slides.
Hey, Brian, I can change them for you. I think they should be on the top.
Go to the next one there. Obviously, we had the common model that ECR around the world sponsored, which really defined the field, put a circle around the scope of category management, and of course, the next slide, Declan, gave us a simple, practical model to begin the journey to category management. How do we manage a category as a business? And this simple 8-step process, which I think most of you are familiar with, this was the way that we thought about how to manage a category to connect it to the consumer, but in a logical business management way. So that was the methodology. Now, of course, in the last decade, clearly the world has changed. The shopper came into retail marketing, and it did for a number of reasons. Declan? First, and you can see here, I mean, again, the wave says that, you know, the whole shopper, the whole bringing the shopper into the retail marketing evolution went through a number of phases, beginning with the application of the loyalty data into processes like category management, and subsequent developments in more formalized shopper marketing. Next slide. So these phases clearly brought the shopper in. Obviously, the reason we had to do that is because the value drivers for consumers and shoppers went through some significant changes in the last 10 years. But the traditional drivers of taste, price, and convenience really became enhanced by new drivers of health and wellness, of product safety, of ecology, shopping experience. So we needed to adapt our business methods, including category management, to be able to capture and integrate and take into our decision processes these new consumer value drivers. Next. Obviously, who the shoppers were have changed dramatically. We know that millennials are now the largest shopper segment in many of our markets, and these are different shoppers than the shoppers that many of our older processes and many of our experiences were built around. There's new expectations of experiences, convenience, quality. So methods have to adapt to clearly meet the needs of these new shopper segments. And of course, the big thing that happened in the last 10 years was the changing retail paradigm. I mean, the emergence of the click retailers, the integration of click and brick in an omni-channel setting world, and of course, the continual evolution of discounters around the world. So clearly, if you look at those three circles I said before, in the last 10 years, we've had major changes happening in the consumer field. We've had major changes happening in competition, and category management, like any other technique, must adapt. Now, as we go forward, Luke and I feel there's like three key words that are going to define how category management contributes to our success in the future. That's integration, innovation, and personalization. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Luke, who's going to share with you some of the vision that we have around the future of consumer and shopper marketing and where category management fits into that more integrated platform. Over to you, Luke.
Thank you, Brian, and to everybody, a good evening or a good morning, wherever you are. Pleased to be able to address the word to you today. Thank you, Brian. I think a very important element in this integrated approach of the consumer shopper that we're going to talk today is that we all know that there's new store formats that come up that bring the consumer really very close to the shopping act. Yeah. Imagine walking in the street, an impulse on the go, buying a sandwich, a solution for a meal solution to eat at work, but also the consumer at home, using his tablet and just quickly making an order. And that makes that the mindset of the consumer goes very deep also in the mindset of the shopper, and they integrate. And in that context, category management becomes a very important platform for building an actionable offer in a strategic context of shopper marketing. And that integrated approach as such becomes very important for retailers and manufacturers and brings the collaboration actually to a higher level. Yes, more data come from insights on the consumer and need to be integrated in how the retailer is going to work it. And as such, as the plot of what a consumer is looking for, becoming a shopper, the game for building equity becomes more clear through the data and builds actually the sweet spot more easy as it all becomes more clear how innovation and differentiating business plans can come to life in that work. In 2011, Brian and myself, we were leading this ECR book, this blue book about the consumer shopper journey. And I think the first step in the journey is really all about the who. And the who connects with, if we're looking to a business plan and we're looking to an element of differentiation, we have to understand the who in terms of a consumer and in terms of a shopper. The who as a consumer is looking very much to what she wants to consume, why she wants to consume, what is the experience and the motivation, and connect that actually to a moment where she is consuming it, but also where she's going to shop it, where she's going to acquire it. And so that holistic profile brings us a structure in front of us with that consumer shopper journey and allows actually a new model of segmentation, of looking at this who, that allows us to build this future of category management. Next slide, or maybe I can push it. Yes. So the question of why integrating the consumer and the shopper is obviously becoming more and more important as we see how consumers make choices along the consumer shopper journey. Being a consumer, clicking on a tablet and actually making a shopping act, or just evaluating several offers on the web while they're in a store, what we call the omni-channel. So it's obviously we can no longer disconnect them, and we need to actually bring these insights together. A second element is that, in order to bring this complex given of consumers and shopper together, we need to actually create a framework that will be the ground material for building the growth vision for current and future generations. We need to understand the value drivers from the consumer, but we also need to understand the value drivers of the shopper, the experience they are expecting when they go and buy the product. And the growth vision is all about connecting, segmentations to current versus future generation, quantify their value and buying power, and the up market versus down market. So understanding where is the value of the future, how can I capture it, and how can I relate it to a value driver framework. And obviously, these new value drivers have to click with new brand initiatives, with new store retailer initiatives. And these dynamics, obviously, when you find a structure, and that is ideally what this consumer shopper journey structure brings, and this integrated consumer and shopper value driver framework, this is actually the way to understand where should I put my money in order to win tomorrow in terms of innovation, and where is actually the retailer channel I need to play more than another channel in order to find where these segments are going to spend their money. These elements obviously bring very clear then, what a collaborative value driver language may be, and allows also differentiated business plans between product manufacturers and retail solution holders. That platform is actually the biggest reason, I think, why we absolutely need such a framework connecting consumer shopper and also see through the journey in which channel the buying power is going. And that growth platform is the basis for shopper marketing, which then finds its execution in the offer building through a category management platform. So that's why today, there's some challenging questions that I want to put in front of you, and that I will try to answer. But keep these questions in mind as we go to the following slides. If we're talking about the journey, is then the traditional category management 8-step model, will it survive the future? Yes. And I can already say that, yes, it will survive, because it's not as much the process of the 8 steps that will change, but the content of it. Yes. Keep that in mind. It's a question that I get very often, Luke, is that process going to stop then if you have the journey? No. And I will explain you in the next couple of charts how important that is. Another very important business question is the purchase decision tree that we all know from all these years of category management, is it the same one for every store? Yeah. And how should we address category strategies and tactics in the future? Yes. Well, I think these two questions, we need to connect those with the value drivers. It depends who you want to win with, what mission they are, what the role of the category is. And along that path, you will come to different answers on price strategies, on promotion strategies, on assortment. And that I will also demonstrate in the next couple of charts. And then who owns the shopper marketing strategy for our brand? And what is the role of the category management, the role of category management in this context? Well, who owns it? Obviously, it becomes a collaborative item. And therefore, it's so important that we start to think in terms of integrated brand equity models. Leverage the value of consumer and shopper, deploy these insights across an omni-channel structure, and incorporate the consumer and shopper journey as a roadmap for understanding this, and to build together, retailer and manufacturer, in front of the consumer shopper, a winning proposition. Next one, please. In the past 8 years, we have been working on these type of integrated brand equity collaborative models. And what you see here is actually 3 large building blocks. A, build the category vision. B, how to understand where to play with your brand, for example, how to work with the retailer. And 3, how does that lead to the right collaboration? And in what's coming next, I want to first concentrate on the first 2 steps in the category vision, and that is about understanding the consumer, that consumer value driver framework I was mentioning, and then in step 2, how does that connect with the shopper? Next one, please. Here is kind of an example where we look at, can you get one back, please? Yeah, thank you. So first of all, what you see here is a typical example of what I would call, the principles of such a framework for segmentation. On the horizontal axis, we're looking from the old generation to the right, the future generation. And on the vertical axis, we're looking to upmarket, high buying power, and the bottom financial, less buying power. And we see a number of value drivers on total consumption level. Yes, and these are very much socioeconomic, lifestyle connected. Yes, and that is very important, because if a brand maker wants to talk to a retailer, he'll have to talk to somebody who owns a store, not only his category. And therefore, this is a good starting point. These are actually segments that connect, with a generation of people who have a number of differentiating approaches which talk about my financial situation, my lifestyle, am I engaged into ecology? Do I have financial problems? Am I a traditional person? Am I very much ambitious in my life? And these kind of high-level drivers, they are the platform for this basic framework. Next slide, please. When we, however, bring that to the level of your category, yes, we see that these high-level segments, this high-level framework translates for every category in particular value drivers that connect with the category. Yeah, and I show you here the example, financial problem, the bottom. Yeah, it's okay for my budget and my taste. Yes, it's very simple people who say, I can afford it and I like the taste. Whereas when you look to the new premium, upright, we're looking to people who have an ambition for their health, fitness, nutrition, enjoy new product. Or when we're looking to the upcoming premium, people with a high degree who will be the premium of tomorrow, they are very variable in their decision making, less brand loyalty, and they are opportunistic and they like surprise. And in that context, next slide please, we are seeing then that if you connect these consumer value driver frameworks, which start from total consumption universe and it goes down to your category, that this also connects with the shopper experience. Yes, and I just for illustration put here something that comes out of many studies that we've done. It's a typical one where we look at up left, we look at people who expect the lowest price. We're looking up to the right side at people who are very looking for innovation, for new product, very excited. They are very intuitive. They like impulse. Whereas the bottom left is about store and assortment experience. They like choice. They like a good experience, a good service. Whereas the right side down is very much about what is my service experience? Can I go on an app? Can I check my behavior there? Can I check on product information? Can I go online while I'm in the store? And when you look at an example of these people that are in financial problem, obviously, very often these people will look to high expectation on low price, whereas this new generation is much more looking to service experience in store and online. And that is really, of course, already one of the answers where I put in my business questions. What is the price strategy for a segment that goes for a quick mission on impulse to a local store and actually would like to find a nice experience that fits with the value drivers. And you already see that price strategies and promotions will not be the same ideally for these two segments. They will be different. And also the purchase decision tree will be different. So that means that when we're looking at the category vision, we need to understand the consumer value driver network framework, but we also have to connect with that the shopper experience expectation that connects with those. As such, we have a triple entry to understand where it plays. Next one, please. That brings us back to category management. And of course, when we are understanding all these value drivers, this is actually where we are going to connect actually our category assessment. Yeah, the category definition, the category role, we'll talk in a second about that, but the category assessment is going to be along two dimensions. The first dimensions will be these value drivers. Yes, so how does my category score versus competition in this assessment versus the market in that segment? How does it assess against that? What is the potential? What is the SWOT? Strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. So that's one element, the value drivers. The other structures path that we have to look at is the steps in the journey. Yeah, is it the perception before they go and choose a store, or before they go to an e-commerce solution, or is it the experience that is actually in the store or in the web? Yes, we see, for example, that Amazon often wins where e-commerce is already a couple of years in the market in a local retailer, but still Amazon wins because they know and they understand better how to make that category assessment along these two lines. And as such, it's going to be a very important element to do category management. And from that assessment, depending on the segments you want to play with a certain retailer, to understand where the differentiation lays along the element of the segments, the value drivers, and the steps in the journey where you're going to put your activities. As such, you know, the mission becomes the golden key for a retailer to win. The retailer equity has to embrace the consumer value drivers of those segments he wants to win with. And you know, every retailer, you know, there's like 25% of his shoppers that make over 70% of his sales. That is obviously a very well defined set of segments that connects with a particular set of missions, and that connect then with an expectation on a shopping experience, and that experience is connected with a key category that drives actually the key role for that mission. And here, obviously, you see that the assessment and the role of the category connect with where I'm going to shop, and like that allow you to make your game plan from your assessment with the retailer, see what am I going to do with my brand, what are the segments this retailer is attracting most, total store, how does that work on my category level, do my assessment, and then see, you know, what can I do to build that differentiation and actually drive the role of the category to a maximum perception in terms of superior delivery. Yes, so that makes that the content of the category management assessment is going to be driven alongside the who, the why, the consumer solutions that the who wants connected with the why, and then decides to make a shopping mission, and that connects with the expectation on the shopping experience, and where she then sees that a retailer is superior in delivering that for the category that is top of mind in that mission. Yes. Next one, please. So in order to do all that, you know, we have to think a little bit different in the future about the kind of research models that we're going to use. First of all, I think we see this evolution, especially now with COVID-19, that people, a lot of the new generation segments that we saw right up in the category vision table, we see that a lot of them start to go to different channels. And omni-channel is a buzzword, but you know, tablets and PCs and mobiles allow to quickly change at home, on the go. And so omni-channel behavior tracking against the old way household panels for market tracking is going to be very important. Combined with insight questions, the time of thousands of online questionnaires, you know, it's over. We're going to go to a very agile way to combine behavior with why of behavior. And you see a lot of the big panel houses move into this. It's very important that you understand what is your category vision, that you understand where you play to actually build in your segments into that behavior tracking. Another element is the social media scraping connecting, you know, the 5 consumer W's. Yes, the 5 consumer W's is the who has a particular need and motivation, wants a particular consumption experience, where she's going to consume, and actually what she's going to consume and where at what moment. These scraping tools allow to actually connect motivation, experience, and shopping and consumption occasion. And from there, we will detect for a brand where the demand spaces are that we can then use as the start of the journey to do shopper marketing with. Obviously, the connecting of the dots, and I think this is really the future where we are going to try to connect the 5 W's of the consumer with the 5 W's of the shopper through the journey. That work is big data, and these constructions connect also then with loyalty cards that retailers have, where the granularity that we don't find maybe in household panels will be found in loyalty card databases and allow mathematical constructions to understand better the growth potentials. This is already going on, and this is no rocket science. It's just connecting the dots in the right way, following the right concept. Connecting machine learning also with the consumer shopper segments, these value drivers, they are a strategic platform to understand in which direction machine learning has to develop its one-to-one knowledge. Yes, very often when you look to Netflix or Amazon, they are using some of these attributes, but when you do the category vision, for developing that artificial intelligence towards the future, it's important that you carry these attributes that drive the differentiation in the category vision into that machine learning. And last but not least, what we'll see is that all these elements will be integrated in assortment algorithms to work them store by store. And so in that sense, we're moving to kind of a revolution. So for a retailer, achieve a deep understanding of a combination of consumer and shopper insight, their value drivers and their behavior across all channels will be the way to understand where their win and their differentiation lays. And it's not only looking internally to their loyalty card, it's also benchmarking with the outside world, as that one is changing very rapidly. Leveraging these insights to develop and implement superior category solutions is actually the click, is to think beyond your category and think about consumption solutions to allow a retailer to differentiate versus consumer shopper segments on a higher level, as I indicated in the framework for the value drivers for the consumer, from lifestyle, socioeconomic, down to the category, and then connect with other categories and find common grounds for consumption solutions that will really differentiate. That building of consumer shopper understanding and going to a transition from mass marketing to mass customization to one-to-one, and to actually build artificial intelligence tools, that route that I explained is going to be very important also. So obviously, multi-source data intelligence master plans become a very strategic item at retail for the future. And we see that already. I mean, Amazon over the past 10 years has developed all that, and we see how they are winning because other retailers often lack that level of ICT architectures. For the manufacturer, obviously, very important to update on a regular basis, the consumer growth drivers. And that can be done very much in the future with what I would call social media scraping and other tools that do agile interaction via these hybrid panels that ask questions to segments that are replicated in the panels. And as such, will allow to build new levels of collaboration, understanding how brand segments connect with retailer segments. Using that framework, gain category management insight for these segments along the consumer and shopper journey, along that structure, to see how you can work your category management strategies and tactics from that mission, from that segment, from that category solution that you are building, and build strategic multi-source data intelligence together with the retailer, or at least various sources to connect brand and sales within your company. All right, Brian, back to you, I think. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Luc. I mean, a lot of fantastic ideas to think about and how they connect into the future application of category management and shopper marketing. So thank you so much for that. As Declan said at the beginning of the presentation today, one of the key elements of our report was the fact that we reached out and it included 14 very interesting case studies from around the world that really do capture the current application of category management. And given that, we actually thought that if you think about the next 5 or 6 years of category management work, we really feel that there's like 6 areas where category management is going to have particular focus. And these are the 6. I won't read them all, but essentially what we did was we then looked out and tried to find examples of case studies that reflect the current application of category management in all 6 of these areas. And today we're going to present to you, I think, two case studies from 2 of those areas. Firstly, we're going to hear from Metro in Canada. Wonderful work dealing with the application of category management to joint brand building collaboration between retailers and manufacturers. And then secondly, we're going to hear from a very interesting case study from China. Rainbow Supermarkets in China did a wonderful case study on the fresh fruit category, really starting from a very basic proposition through to some fantastic results just simply by applying the fundamental concepts of category management. So at this point, what I'm going to do is firstly hand over to David Choncho and Martin Tourette from Metro Canada. So David, would you mind taking over at this point, please?
Yeah, thank you, Brian, and hello, Martin. You know, in my career, I've observed that collaboration is a difficult thing to do sometimes, and certainly this idea of retailer and supplier collaboration is one of the very foundational principles of category management. Well, I wanted to offer the Metro case study as a really refreshing reminder of the power and effectiveness of a truly collaborative approach. One of the heroes, in fact, the leader of this collaborative approach at Metro is my friend Martin. He's here to present this best-in-class story about Metro, wherein, by the way, shopper data was used in the classic 8-step category management process to really reinvent the shopping experience for customers, to reinvent categories, to innovate, to differentiate, all those things that Luke talked about and Brian talked about earlier in this call. This is a perfect example of category management adapted for today and for the future. So Martin, please tell us the story.
Yes, thank you, David, for your kind words. It's appreciated. Thank you very much. Good day, everybody. Hope you're all safe and healthy right now. And I want to thank the ECR community to give me the opportunity to present a snapshot of our category management process. Thank you very much. The first slide is to give you a bit of background where we were when we started this project. Metro, as a conventional banner, has decided to grow in the market and differentiating ourselves with the fresh department. So that left the center of stores and the grocery aisle a bit, I would say, behind. And at that time, we've seen the increase of the mass merchandiser coming in our market. So we were, losing share to them, and the grocery were also gaining. We also realized that the category management haven't got the time to focus on reviewing their categories and making sure that their assortment was optimal to gain in this market. So they were too much into the day-to-day job that they had to do. So the top management gave me the mandate to redefine our category management process. So we designed this new project by leveraging all the data that we could, and with our partners Dunnhumby, we created that new process that I will share. Well, first of all, we have decided, as I mentioned, the category manager haven't got the time to really look into the category. So we dedicated a team. It was a very small team. Three people were put aside of their day-to-day job, and their mandate was to build this new category review process. The objective was to review the entire stores by the end of 2020. Obviously, COVID did not help with that, but we were about to achieve that. our partners for well, the last 10 years, done be support the process and provide all the tools, and also the well, the vendor participation was a key to the success of that journey. Oops. Okay. So again, we wanted to transform the center of store, dairy, frozen, and non-food. So and this is a time frame that we put in place at the beginning. We started with, well, defining what would be the process, and then we started with a set of a category, which was the dairy. So it was kind of well defined in our stores, and it was bold enough to make a difference when we would implement the changes that we had decided. So then we moved to dairy, frozen dairy, and non-food, and then at the end we were, as I was mentioning, when COVID showed up, we were implementing, rolling out in stores the entire center of stores. So we were close to our goals. We had defined 4 different pillars that we wanted to activate. First one was innovation. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, we want to differentiate ourselves from the discount banners and the mass merchandisers. So innovation was a key. Optimization was the second one. We wanted to make sure that the assortment and the promotional activities that we would put in place would be optimal for the size of the set that we have in stores. We do have smaller stores in Metro, so we wanted to make sure that our assortment was optimal. Shopping experience was something. First of all, we wanted to make sure that the customer could get all their needs from their sight of vision, if I can say that. We wanted to make sure that the products that they want are well regrouped at the same around the same area. And the last was value perception. Again, a mass merchandiser and discounter have better price than retail price than us, but we wanted to make sure that we could have a value proposition and showed it to the customers, so in order to get their fidelity longer term. So that was the 4 pillars that we wanted to activate in that process. Okay, we wanted a 60-degree approach. So we wanted to use the customer data and leverage the data. That was one of the major objectives that we want. I want to mention also that we wanted to increase collaboration with our CPG vendors, and store execution was a key. For many years, I've done many different category management process. We called it many different ways, but the difficulties that we had was to implement it at the store level. So implementation was integrated into the entire process. So on the left side of the slide, you see market customer knowledge, which is what we wanted to ask from our vendor to give us insights on that. Then we would revise the assortment tree line and review after that the price and promotion to make sure that we bring value to the customers. And at the end, that was the tracking. We use many different tools that we're using through the different stage of the project. Most of those tools have been shared with the vendors, with the category captain that we have identified to help them understand the category dynamics and identify opportunities to leverage their category expertise. As the experience, are gained through the waves that we were doing with the project, those tools have been automated to make sure that we could be faster and quicker to revise the category. At the category and customer understanding stage, we use the category roles and levers. and the customer engagement assessment overview tools from, again, Dunnhumby. For the assortment, we work with the Dunnhumby assortment tools using customer decision trees and also two different solutions, the Cato and the ad selector, to facilitate category adjacencies and space optimization strategy. For price and promotion, the historic of promotion and performance with the customer KPI and the price and promotion balance matrix from Dunnhumby to deep dive the categories and making sure that we were optimizing the key levers for the customers. And finally, for the measurement, we built a custom and specific dashboard to measure the uplift and understand the performance and the category customer impact on, well, post implementation. This is on well, a one-pager, the process and the clear process, which is different than what we were used to. So first of all, we asked the community vendor that was, well, having business in a specific category if they wanted to participate. We were kind of very open, and we wanted it to be very open in terms of let the CPG presented us what they think in terms of market. We wanted to understand from them what was the best practices in the world, what was the market trend. We asked them for market watch, innovation, obviously market performance, how we were performing against our competitors. We also asked for a SWOT. So we asked them to, well, evaluate us in terms of how we would be as a retailer and how we could obviously improve our performance. So that was the first one, and we were not that much innovative by naming that. We call that kit one. Then with this kit one, we went to a steering committee. The steering committee was composed of our COO, our SVP, VP merchandising, operation, our CMO, and the SVP for our procurement teams. To that extent, we were able at first to make sure that they would align us if they agreed or not at some point on the trends that we were seeing and what we were proposing in terms to address it, to make sure that we put in place strategies that would capitalize on the opportunities that we saw and well, leverage or making sure that where we were less, let's say, less competitive, how can we improve that? So with this steering committee at the first stage, and this is what was different in the past with the category management review that we had. You know, we were preparing a deck of 100 pages, and then we go to, well, a committee or the management, and then presented it. And that was become kind of heavy at some point. So with this process, we were breaking down into different parts. That was easier for them to have an idea of, is this a good idea or not? And they were aligning us. Once we were aligned, we would go back to the vendors. And at that stage, they needed to have the Dunnhumby solution. So we have identified different captains, 1 or 2 captains, depending on how big the category was. The whole idea behind that, and by having this, well, first kit one, we would have kind of a survey of what was the trend. So if 10 vendors are telling us that you should go that way of the snacking solution, well, we could be pretty confident that yes, it's a trend that is coming in. So on the assortment, we were bringing back where on what the solution we wanted to implement, and we asked the vendor to revise with us the assortment. once the assortment and all the concept of the category management were also included, obviously. And then once the assortment was done, we were building, well, planogram on paper. And then we would go back to the steering committee and show them what we were thinking of implementing in store. And then we get their approval on that. Then we move on, and in parallel, while we were implementing the planogram in stores, 200 stores in many regions, it takes quite a lot of time. So one key thing is very important is to involve the operation teams to make sure that it's there. So in parallel, we were reviewing the price and promotion review with all the tools that W&B was bringing us. We were revising in depth the performance of our promotion and our pricing strategy. As a conventional retailer, high and low is quite important for us. We wanted to make sure that our baseline was working. So at the end, we would have with the steering committee in stores a lab store that we were calling, that we would present the entire set, and then we would roll out. After 4 months of rolling out, we were looking at the results and adjust if needed. And we track it. So we've done the entire stores based on this process. I will leave you with the last slide. So the dairy aisle, we rationalized the assortment by about 10%. So all the Me Too product were kind of removed. That gives us the opportunity to bring specific need states, a product that would fit specific need states for a customer. We introduce a more value format in order to express our value proposition to the customer. We created a new section. We realigned the adjacencies of the store, and we also implement a new signage that was in order to help the shopping experience for the customers. So at the end, you have some comments from our vendor. I won't read them all, but I think that we've been able to engage our customers, not our customers, but our CPG partners in a way that we couldn't do it, in the past. We leverage very much the usage of the customer data, and we created a customer experience that is, I would say, maybe not unique, but very interesting for our customers. And this all showed good results in terms of uplift for every category that we've done. And we were gaining share, which we haven't done in the past. So, that's about it. So, Declan, I will pass you back the info. Or David, I don't know if you want to add something.
I was just going to say, for customers, I was particularly impressed with your new product innovation sections in categories like the dairy. So you made it really easy for shoppers to find what was new, and then you later integrated that into the regular sets. So there were some very clever inventions and differentiations throughout.
David,
thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's a formidable project. The time scale, the communications, the adherence to category management principles. I mean, as complex and sophisticated as all of these projects get, the 8-step category management process is the bedrock by which it's all launched. Look, thanks so much. We'll revert. We're going a little bit over time, so I don't mind coming back for some questions after I come to some of the other presentations, because our next presentation is from another retailer. And it is going to be presented by Dennis Sabatka, of your partner in business. And Dennis has conducted this presentation with, this project with Rainbow Group. They're going to focus, it's another retailer, they're going to focus on the fresh fruit category. You're going to see some similarities in terms of the process and the extensiveness by which the retailer goes to adhere to the 8-step category management process, and also in the rollout and the compliance of the rollout. It's a fabulous project, and delighted now to welcome to us Dennis Sabatka.
Thank you, Declan. My name is Dennis Sabatka, and I'm the president and founder of Your Partner in Business, a retail consulting firm. Today, we will share our client, Rainbow Supermarket, located in China, and their category management success story as outlined in the ECR report. Rainbow has over 100 stores and 8,000 employees in the city of Shenzhen and southern China region. Today, we will share the Rainbow success story in developing their fresh fruit destination category business plan. The Rainbow story can be defined in a number of ways beyond just the traditional scorecard results. But let's start with the traditional scorecard results over the first 2 years of our consulting engagement and of Rainbow's commitment to the category management best practices. In the first year of 2018, Rainbow grew sales for the fresh fruit category 8.2% in a flat to negative market situation. In the second year of 2019, when our work really kicked in, Rainbow grew 28% and increased gross profit by 25%. Wow, these are amazing results in a very mature, highly saturated category. But most importantly was the increased shopper traffic that Rainbow gained in all of their stores as fresh fruit became a destination category for Rainbow, a magnet to attract their targeted shopper. The other components of Rainbow's success beyond the scorecard was the team building within each category team and as a total company. Rainbow's people became more professional, more analytical, more disciplined, more focused on the right priorities that Rainbow needed to be more competitive. Rainbow is very pleased with these results. Now, let me start to share the project methodology that we use to accomplish these various levels of support. Your Partner in Business started with a 3-day total company capability assessment in which we interviewed many of the key personnel and identified the current work process methods used within Rainbow. This 2018 capability assessment report provided the overall strategic direction for all of the category management work completed within Rainbow. This report identified the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. We call this a SWOT within the Rainbow organization and developed the timeline of milestones and action steps that would be followed to implement category management. This capability assessment report also was the base for Rainbow to develop a 5-year strategic company plan going forward. Your Partner in Business uses a project methodology that combines our 4 core teaching activities. The first activity was our traditional classroom teaching the category management 8-step process as outlined in the ECR report. The second approach, we balance our 50% teaching with 50% in-store hands-on teaching. Our in-store hands-on teaching with each individual category team is a strategic competitive advantage that Rainbow has over its competition. Third is taking our teams to visit Rainbow's key competitors and their individual categories. The key to developing successful category business plans is for each category team to identify their competitors' category SWOT within each store visit. Identifying the competitor's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for each individual category. Our fourth approach is team building and development, using the category management 8-step process to complete their category business plan. This project methodology approach, using these 4 core steps of teaching activity, is a proven process that has worked for Rainbow and many retailers globally. Our Rainbow category teams work inside a pilot store to refine the final category business plan, not just on paper, but in the physical category within the pilot store. This discipline and focus of the 8-step process allows personnel on each category team to truly develop their skills and knowledge to a much higher level. These teams can now build a battle plan, a category business plan, both strategically and tactically, that will succeed and overcome their competitors using the 8-step process, again, as outlined in the ECR report. The first step of the 8-step process was to help Rainbow to redefine the definition of the fresh fruit category and to develop what we call the category consumer decision tree. This first step is needed to have a solid base to develop the category plan from the consumer shopper perspective. Again, it's talked about in the ECR report. Without the correct consumer decision tree, both the teams and the retailer will fail in this work. The consumer decision tree that Rainbow developed for fresh fruit started with these 5 key subcategories. The category needed to be defined from the perspective of Rainbow's targeted consumer shopper. This is very important for the teams to understand and to achieve success. The second step was to define the strategic role for fresh fruit category and for all of Rainbow's categories in each format. Rainbow supermarkets, in fact, did complete this work by assigning strategic roles to all of their categories. Tremendous work. This strategic work completely redefined formats in the eyes of their targeted consumer shopper. In doing this work, Rainbow recognized why the fresh fruit category was so strategically important to their targeted consumer shopper. Fresh fruit became a destination category. As Rainbow has already shown, the destination fresh fruit category business plan did develop and deliver the desired scorecard results and more. Step 6 is tactical assortment, which had the biggest impact in changing the category as the team completed their work. The concept of optimal assortment in most categories generates a significant reduction in the number of SKUs in most situations. Fresh fruit dropped from 150 SKUs to 75. This is one of the most important barriers and resistance points that all retailers must overcome. Step 6, tactical shelf merchandising. Here is the final reflection of all the team's work. This step reflects the reduced optimal assortment and the application of step 5, which assigns individual strategies to each item in the category. The new shelf merchandising flow now reflects these changes made in the category. The fresh fruit shelf merchandising flow reflects the application of first step 1 with a consumer decision tree defined, and step 5 with the category strategies assigned for each item in the category. This work is the core component to the development of a successful category business plan. This is the shelf merchandising flow as viewed inside the pilot store. This is reflecting the 5 subcategories within the consumer decision tree. The 8-step process allows the team to create strategic competitive advantages over their retail competitors. This is the key to the whole category management process. Here we see an example of this with the excitement strategy reflected in the shelf merchandising flow. This excitement strategy is to attract Rainbow's targeted consumer shopper. Now, the one secret to success in this 8-step process is the ability for retailers to achieve higher store operation implementation of the completed category business plans. Your partner business in Rainbow held a 2-day seminar for store operation implementation, which combined our in-store work and store tours, which highlighted the final category business plans within the shelf merchandising flow. This implementation training provided the store managers and the key store personnel in attendance the ability to touch, to feel, to experience the final business plan, and to ask questions to better understand their role in achieving successful implementation. This training was a big success. Our store operation implementation training seminar and our in-store hands-on teaching approach is a significant strategic competitive advantage for Rainbow over their competitors. There were 4 major barriers that Rainbow and the teams faced. The first barrier is the traditional resistance to any change that is expected. And the key to overcome this is strong support from senior management in terms of the process. In the case of Rainbow, both the CEO and the president were in the front row for 80% of the sessions that we held over the first 2 years of engagement. Wow. That is the definition of senior management support. The second biggest resistance was to making the assortment changes, which required the deletion and the reduction in the number of products within the category. This is so hard for retailers to overcome for many reasons: sliding allowance, promotional money, et cetera, which the retailers already know all these reasons. This was the biggest resistance point in the process that Rainbow had to overcome. The third resistance is for the retail organization and the senior management staff to be hungry for new thinking, for new learning, which will change their current paradigm of doing business. The Rainbow team was all embracing of this new teaching, which resulted in the impressive improvement in scorecard results. The last barrier is credibility. As the team uses the 8-step process, there needs to be moments of credibility as they incorporate new concepts into the day-to-day work and into the retail organization. Rainbow needed to build on these moments of credibility as they went through the scheduled timeline of project activities. In ending, my 2 words of advice I would share with retailers are the following. First, do not wait for everything to be perfect, for everything to be in place to get started, because in doing so, you will never get started. That is a fact. This is an evolutive process in which, as more data becomes available and more analysis identifies more opportunities, you will find your organization expand and grow to the levels you need. Just get started now. My second advice, which is absolutely needed, is to have a consistent commitment by senior management to support the work of category management, not as a project, but as a change in the way of doing business by the company every day going forward. In conclusion, our work with Rainbow was not extraordinary. In fact, it was our standard methodology of introducing category management to a retailer and ending the process by delivering significant scorecard results. There was nothing extraordinary. This means any retailer can get started now and can embrace this proven best practice process. Each retailer listening, please consider making the same commitment as Rainbow and just get started. Your partner in business and our team wish you much success in 2021 and beyond. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dennis, so much. I beg to differ. There's everything extraordinary about the achievements that you had with the Rainbow Group, but very similar to the presentation from Martin and David. The extraordinary part is just following the 8-step approach and having a senior, experienced-led team in order to deliver that. So listen, thanks and well done. We're going to move on just rather quickly just to our final presentation for today. And it is from, it only takes 10 minutes. It's from Françoise Aka. Françoise is with the Institut de Commerce, as they're known in France, or ECR France, as we know them. And Françoise is going to talk about the most efficient functionalities to improve the user experience on food e-retail websites, and how relevant is that to us all at the moment. Hello, Françoise.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Declan, for welcoming me today. I am Françoise Aka. I am in charge of e-commerce at Institut de Commerce ECR France. I am also the head of ActingCo, which provides training, masterminds, and strategic collaboration specialized in e-commerce. Personally, I have dedicated my career in retail and shopper experience. At the Institut de Commerce, we have developed a workshop dedicated to e-commerce. The goal of the group is to define best practices between retailers and suppliers to best answer shopper needs. It assembles key players in the French FMCG market, such as Leclerc, Carrefour, Intermarché, Heineken, L'Oréal, PepsiCo, Bacardi, Danone. I cannot name all of them, but I would like to thank them for their involvement and contribution to our findings. Together, we identified the need to focus on e-category management. But to do so, we quickly understood that we had to first determine the most efficient functionalities to improve user experience on food retail websites. And only then could we examine e-commerce levers. And this is what I would like to share with you today. What are the most efficient functionalities to improve user experience on food e-retail websites? So to do so, we will explore the following. Firstly, why talk about functionalities in e-commerce? Secondly, what are the main learning points from the new economy? Then, what are the main KPIs for e-retail? And finally, we will look at the next steps. So where do we go from here? Really, my intention today is to explain our approach, give you further insights, and if you want to deep dive into the subject, please refer to the pages 69 to 75 in the book. As we all agree, our objective is to increase turnover online, right? But to do so, we have to go back to the shopper equation and look into its different elements that develop sales throughout the shopper journey. This is the online equivalent of the offline shopper equation. Sales equals the average basket times the number of baskets. And the number of baskets equals traffic times conversion. The book illustrates the functionalities needed to generate internal traffic, external traffic, and mixed traffic. For example, for external traffic, the functionalities include the co-founding of campaigns such as Google Shopping and Facebook ads, Another example, SEO excellence. An enriched product information contributes to SEO optimization. The third example, co-construction of content for category and themes. We all know that to meet the growing expectation of the customer, we have to go deeper and give more information than only product information. The book also illustrates the functionalities needed to generate conversion through customization of product recommendations, cross-sell, upsell, and product information. For the latter, the product information, make sure, for example, that GS1 Alchemix equity streams are properly fed. Another example, fill missing content and upload high resolution but light images. The book also illustrates the functionalities to facilitate both client experience and conversion by detailing quick product discovery, ease of shopping list design, fast and efficient payment and logistics service, order satisfaction, and post-purchase experience. The results of our workshop were partly inspired by companies that had brilliant results online. Example, Mano or Bol.com. They gave us direct insights. We also have Content Square and Accenture that explains us how to make sense of the e-retail shopper journey. I am delighted to share with you some of the key points. We were particularly interested in how Bol.com considered the suppliers in 2020. Yes, not only suppliers. For them, the partners are sellers, advertisers, suppliers, and brand specialists. So they explain us the different ways they collaborate with their partners. And that's really interesting, especially for retailers in France. The second information that interested us was the functionalities they play on. So the key functionalities I shared with you, you do not have it on the book, but I think it was interesting to share it with you. So easy search, browse, and navigation. Personalization, subscription model, daily, weekly promotion. Automated support via chatbot. Easy to use, seamless integration across devices. And lastly, APIs available for external parties to build solutions on top of Bol.com. And that was really interesting because in France, actually, we do not have a lot of APIs available for external parties. If you would like to have more information, or if you are a supplier and a member of an Institut du Commerce, you can download our summary reports on institutducommerce.org. Finally, regarding the KPIs, so we have three kinds of KPIs: performance, shopper, and distribution KPIs. The interesting part is that during the workshop, both retailers and suppliers agreed on those KPIs. But there are two issues. The first one is that in practice, not all of them are shared. And the second one is that some of them do not exist yet, like NPS on the category. So this study was completed in January 2020. 1 year later, the study is still valid, yes, indeed, regardless of the COVID. Where do we go from here? The next step is to look at the e-category management levers that we have called the 4 brilliant basics. So the e-category management toolbox that includes the 4 brilliant basics is available on institutecommerce.com since this week. And yeah, you can download it. That's all for me. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that you gain valuable takeaways and that you can apply them to your company. I strongly urge you to read the details of the research on pages 69 to 75. I am handing things back to you, Declan. Bye.
Bye, Francoise, and thanks so much for that brilliant presentation. I love your phrase, the 4 brilliant basics. Brian, are you online? I think you were going to go through the next steps, and we've concluded our presentations for today. And I'm just going to allow people the opportunity to ask a few questions if we can. But hi, Brian. Next steps.
Yeah, just to kind of wrap it up. I mean, if you think about the information that was presented today, I think there's like 4 key kind of takeaways, if I can put it that way. And this is what I have in the slide you're looking at. I mean, firstly, as Luke emphasized, building a category growth vision from an integrated consumer shopper segmentation framework is really critical for going forward. Without that infrastructure in place, it's going to be very difficult to really apply category management or really any management approach, because it'll be too shotgun. Today we have the ability to do deeper dives into segmentation, integrate the consumer shopper, and incorporate that into a category vision that is going to differentiate and deliver the right kind of value to the right kind of consumer and shopper. Secondly, shopper marketing is an umbrella for category management in a collaborative business plan. These two things are linked, but category management now becomes an integral part of the action plan for how initiatives that are integrated consumer and shopper get delivered to the benefit of the retailer and the supplier. As we said, as the report highlights, and as we've said in every presentation so far, the consumer and shopper journey is really the framework that forces us or causes us to really link the consumer and the shopper behavior across all channels. So we have a simple framework, the consumer and shopper journey, but if we navigate through that step by step, ask the right questions, drive it from the right set of insights about the consumer and shopper, we're clearly going to not leave any big question unanswered as to where we should focus for opportunities. And then lastly, on the technology front, we know that we're on the doorstep of major contribution from artificial intelligence, and therefore, multi-source database analytics are going to be critical to connect the dots between the consumer and the shopper at the different steps of the consumer and shopper journey. And this, we all feel, and I think that we tried to highlight this in the report, this is really going to be the key for true competitive advantage in the years to come. So I think these would be the key summary points that both today's session as well as the report is wanting to put in front of all of you to think about where and how you evolve your current capabilities in category management. So thank you, Declan. I think that's the wrap up from me.
That's great, Brian. Thanks so much. Look, I'm happy to take any questions. I appreciate this probably isn't the best format to do so. It'd be great if Martin and David and Luke were online and if they could rejoin us. It's amazing, Brian, the similarities between the two retailer presentations in terms of the broadness of the scope, encompassing the steps nearly in linear fashion. But the enormity of the project, but nonetheless, as Dennis said, there was nothing extraordinary. Quite extraordinary results they both got.
Well, I think one of the key things was implementation. Both the case studies recognize that implementation in the stores is critical. They incorporated that as an integral part of the work rather than an afterthought, and that we all know is critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me move on just to talk about our upcoming presentation, which is taking place on the 16th of February. So focusing on the education and insight role, guys, we're going to, both yourself and Luke, Brian, are going to talk about building a consumer shopper integrated segmentation to develop a category vision for the category and the brand. And I'm just going to leave up the words here, which kind of is a couple of sentences to explain what it is we're going to talk about. We'll also have a presentation from Yagora talking about their project with Jacklinks in Germany, presentation from Barilla in Italy, followed by Antonella from ECR Italy, who's going to give their presentation, which appeared in the review. And perhaps we might be a little bit sharper on our time next time, I promise. We've gone over by about 15 minutes, and we'll arrange a little bit more Q&A to follow that up. Look, it was a brilliant insight today. Thank you all for dialing in and joining us today. I'll leave you just up with some of the focus areas of what we're trying to do with this hashtag ECR Catman Network. But a fantastic start, really focusing on 2 retailers predominantly, and e-retailing from Françoise in France. So let me bid you farewell. Please, everybody, stay safe and stay healthy. With regret, I have to announce that at least Ireland was informed that we had the worst per capita cases of infections for the last week on the 7-day rolling average. So believe you me, I know that, and hopefully everybody stay safe and stay well. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.